Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a little bit of a while, I've been quite busy, but I wanted to do a tutorial today showing you how I put gold leaf on canvas. So I have done a video on how to put gold leaf on paper, so if you want to check that out, I'll put the link up now. But I've had quite a lot of requests to show how I apply gold leaf or gold to a canvas because it's a different material and I do it in a slightly different way. So the two different golds that I'm going to show you today is gilding wax. I'm going to put all the links to the products I use in the description below, so check that out if you're interested. Gilding wax is just a metallic wax-based medium composed of beeswax mixed with colours basically. So it's thicker than paint, it's got like a different consistency to it, and also I'm going to show you imitation leaf, and maybe I'll just show you a little bit of genuine gold leaf and maybe even liquid gold leaf. We'll see how we get on. I've got these tester canvases. These are just so great for testing on. The problem with canvas, so with paper you can often get quite smooth paper to work with. Canvas is always a rough surface because it's fabric woven in a crisscross effect. So you do get texture with canvas, and using gold leaf I quite like to try and get that texture out. So I'm just going to see if I can show you up close. You can see how rough the canvas is, and that's not really going to work with gold leaves. What I want to do is try and get that texture out. There's a few different methods. One is that you sand down the canvas. So you can just grab a piece of sandpaper. I like to use a fairly thick one, and so I just cut a piece off and then I will start to, in circular motions, start to sand down the canvas, and already that bit feels smooth. So you don't need to work too long on it. So already that feels way more smoother than the other one. So I'm going to quickly work on the other one as well. Just grab a dry soft brush and just brush off all that dust. And now next what I do is I prime the canvas, and the way I prime it is actually an extra way of smoothing the canvas even more. I learnt this technique online. So shout out to Chuck Black Art, and that's who I learnt it from. I'm going to give him credit because this is not something that I learnt. Basically what you're going to need is some Liquitex gesso. You can use other gesso, but I really like using a liquid one. This one works the best for if you're trying to achieve a smooth canvas. And what you're going to want as well is just a palette knife or one of these, which I picked up from a local Poundland shop, and this is just to sort of move the paint around. If you're using a brush, obviously the brush creates brush strokes. What you want to do is just grab your gesso and just pour on like a generous amount like that, and you just want to start by, as you can see it's very liquidy, moving it around. So we can do a few layers of this, so you don't need to worry too much about it being very thick. And then at this point I can just drag it to each edge, making sure that they're all covered. So now I know like the whole thing is covered, and when I scrape it, if there's any excess, I just sort of pop that back in so we don't waste any. And the next step is to grab some kitchen towel, toilet paper, whatever, and just wipe off the palette knife. And then you just want to do really soft strokes and then wipe it off on the paper, and this should get rid of any lines that the palette knife has created. And then I'll do it once this way as well. Okay, so that's my first layer done. So what you're going to want to do is just wait 10 minutes, or do what I'm going to do and just hair dry it. Okay, so I've done one coat on each, and I'm just going to repeat the process and do it once more. What I forgot to say is that obviously if you do have sides to your canvas, these are just very thin pieces, and then you're going to want to do the sides as well. What you can do is just dip your finger in the gesso and just use that to put along the side. So I've done my second layer of gesso. I think it looks really nice. I mean, you can go with a third layer if you particularly want, but for me it looks fine. I'm going to try and show you a close-up. So I don't know if you can see the difference that well, but it's so much smoother on this one here compared to the other one. What I think I'll do is actually split this one into 4 and show you the 4 different gold leaves on this one so that you can see what they all look on canvas, and then maybe I'll just do a nice little painting on this one just to show you what it looks like with a design on it or whatever. So the glue I'm going to use is called Size. This is great for applying gold leaf on large canvases, and that's just because it dries really slowly. So it gives you time to cover a lot more of the canvas. It gives you around 15 minutes to apply. So that's why this one is great. Grab a brush that you're not too bothered about getting dirty, and I'm just going to apply that all on the section that I want the imitation gold leaf to go on. You really don't need a thick layer because the gold leaf is just very thin, so you actually just want a fairly thin layer. The best way to know if the glue is ready for gold leaf to be applied on is you can use your knuckle and just press it lightly against the canvas, and if you hear a clicking sound, like the skin is just clicking off the canvas, then it's ready to use. It's ready to apply. So I've got my gold leaf here, and because it's imitation, it's I can actually touch it without it breaking. I only need a small section, so I'm just going to pop that on there. And you can use just a dry brush to pat it down. And I'm just going to leave that to dry. And whilst I'm letting that sort of completely dry, I'm going to show you the metallic paint, Liquid Leaf. This one's great, I love it. And this works really well with like alcohol inks or fluid art, that kind of thing. So just shake it up, give it a good shake so that the primer is mixed well. So I'm just going to use a paintbrush to dip into the gold leaf. And then I'm just going to paint the surface here. Okay, so at this point, whilst I'm waiting for this side to dry, this side is probably dry, and what I can do is just use a dry brush with circular motions just to get off the excess. Okay, I'm going to leave bits of that still needs to dry. So I'm going to go ahead with this side, and I'm going to use the gilding wax that I talked about earlier. So I'm going to apply it with a palette knife. This one's a good shape because you can get into the corners there. So literally what you do is you just grab some at the end of your palette knife, you just pop that down, and you just start to swipe that across. So that's that one covered, and just going to wipe off the rest of this one. And the final one is the genuine gold leaf. So I've got some here. This is 18 karat gold leaf, and it comes in little sheets like this. It's so much more delicate than the imitation leaf, so it's a lot harder to work with. So I'm going to apply the glue, the size. Just try to do it as thinly as possible. Okay, so I've just tested with my knuckle just to see if it's clicking away from the canvas, and it is. I'm just going to pop that down. And then just slowly start to peel this off. So it's taken to some of it. I'm just going to use the excess that I have on here just to press down in the sections that still need a bit more coverage. So I didn't quite have enough genuine gold leaf to finish this square, but at least you can see roughly what it looks like. So I'm going to show you in different lights close up so that you can see what each one looks like. So we're going to start with this one. This one is the imitation gold leaf. So as you can tell, it's got quite a lot of texture on it. It's got a gorgeous colour and it really reflects the sun. So that's the imitation leaf. Ignore that little bit in the middle, I had to redo that. But it is a gorgeous colour. It does reflect the sun quite nicely. So that's what I like about that one. Going on to the wax one, which is this one here. It's definitely not shiny. It's like a matte kind of gold. I mean, it does shine slightly, not as rich as some of the others, but I really like that it doesn't hold too much texture and you can kind of keep working with it after you've applied it. Looking at the liquid leaf, now it's completely different because obviously it's got the primer in it, so it's shiny. And you can actually see the brush strokes. Like I said earlier, it's probably better when you're incorporating it into like a liquid fluid pour. I wouldn't use this as a full background colour just because I don't particularly like that shine, and also the brush strokes will just show. Even on a second coat, the brush strokes will show. And now lastly, going on to the genuine gold leaf, which is the 18 karat gold leaf. It really doesn't show up any kind of texture. It takes on what the canvas is underneath. Ultimately, if you're really wanting like a beautiful, large, shiny gold piece, then you probably would want to use this one. So differing from the imitation leaf, which is next to it here, it's not as shiny, but I think it's a nicer finish. It's not got the texture in it like the imitation leaf does. It's just flat, but it's also just a really nice rich gold colour. So yeah, that's my evaluation on all 4 different types of gold that you can apply to canvas. And I'm now going to do just a quick piece just to show you what it's like with a nice piece of artwork. And I'm going to probably use this one. So let's go and see what that looks like. So what I would say is for this one, because I don't really need to keep in the lines of a square, I'm actually just going to use my finger. And this is a great technique because you can kind of do these circular motions which get in all of the little grooves. So I'm going to do that technique for this painting here. Okay, so I finished off this piece just off camera, and I'm quite happy with it. I think the painting looks really nice against this gold. Shines in the right places, but it's also matte, so it makes the bird stick out a lot more. Thank you for watching this video today. I hope it will help you, and I hope to be back soon with a new video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you all soon with a new video. Bye guys!